Okay, so a very good morning to all of you guys. I hope all of you are doing your studies properly because the exam is near to you, very near this week only. Okay, so chaliye, let's begin with our session, which is going to cover your indices and reports from the month of January on. But before beginning with the session, I just want to enlighten you with two facts. First is that the report consists of this particular document consists of reports from January to September because these are the reports which are important for your phase one. Okay, there can be other reports which can be useful for your phase two, but I have not picked those reports in this particular document. Why? Because you have just 1 week left in your phase one examination. So I want you to focus on your phase one and focus on the reports that can be asked in the phase one examination. Okay. The behavioral kinds of reports or the conceptual reports which cannot be asked in the phase one, I have left them out. Okay. And second thing is that this contains only the major important reports and indices, and I'm going to use this PDF to teach you the major important reports. Okay. One more thing, that this document contains your first section is of reports and indices, and the next section is of questions. I will teach you the reports. Questions is up to you. Okay, you are going to practice the questions at the end of this PDF once I have provided you with all the details of the reports and indices. I hope we are good to go. Good morning, everyone. Please let me know if I'm clearly audible to all of you or not. Just give me a thumbs up or say yes, okay, or whatever. But please let me know whether I'm clearly audible to all of you or not, so that I can begin with the session. Okay, I believe everything is fine. देखो Nafis, okay. So there is one question: what is the weightage of this topic, reports and indices? Guys, in your NABARD examination, you have 20 questions from GA section. So it may happen that in the GA section, you might not encounter any question from the reports and indices, but you have ESI also, which is of 40 marks. Okay, 40 questions would be there, and in ESI phase one, any question can be there from the reports and indices. Okay, so this particular session is covering both of your sections, ESI and GA. So it holds relevance from that perspective. Okay. हाँ थोड़ा सा है रिचा, my throat is sore, but now it is fine. That's why I'm taking your session. So let's begin with the very first report. I hope it is clear, or shall I zoom it? Okay. Yes, now it is clear. Okay, so the very first report is of the World Economic Forum. Okay, it has released the 18th edition of the Global Risk Report in 2023. Now, if you are a regular of current affairs, you would know that this fact that World Economic Forum releases this report on a periodical basis. Okay, that means very frequently. There is a fixed tendency, fixed period in which WEF releases this World Risk Report, and this report has not been asked in the examination so far of your NABARD. Okay, but why is it important? This time they can ask you the addition. Okay, and even if it is of 1 mark, that 1 mark is very, very crucial to get you clear the examination. So just have a look at it. Okay, so firstly, the 18th edition of the Global Risk Report was released, and it categorizes the risk that the world is going to face in the short term and in the long term. Okay, so in the short term it has specified these risks, and in the long term it has specified these 10 risks. Okay, and you don't have to remember all these risks. The next report is very, very important, which is of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It has released the Rural Health Statistics Report 2021 to 22. This report is very, very crucial. It can be asked in your one marker in phase 1. It can also be asked in your ESI paper and in your phase 2 also. Okay, so prepare it from all the three perspectives. First is that it is an annual publication of the ministry since the year 1992. These are the facts that can become direct questions. Then it is based on the Health Management Information System portal. Now, what is this portal? From the very name itself, it is very obvious that it is the portal that will help the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to monitor the progress in the healthcare sector. Okay, and very specifically, it monitors the progress achieved in your national health policies implementation of 2017. Okay. Now, as of March 31, 2022, the report has revealed that, give me a second, that each sub-center catered to an average of 5,691 people. Primary healthcare center catered to 36,000 approximately people, and community health centers catered to 1,64,000 people. Now, you would know that in the rural areas, we have the division of healthcare sectors, sub-centers, sub-healthcare centers, then we have primary healthcare centers and community healthcare centers. Now, what has this report found? This report has found that all of these centers are overburdened. Okay, they have more burden than they can actually handle. So, as per the norms, each sub-center is supposed to cater to a population of 3,000 to 5,000, and although marginally, but still overburden है. Then a primary healthcare sector should cater to a population of 20 to 30,000, whereas it is catering to 36,000, and community healthcare centers has the highest burden, where it should handle 80 to 1 lakh population, 80,000 to 1.2 lakh population. It is handling 1.6 lakh people. Okay, so this clearly shows the need for having more healthcare infrastructure. Now, before that, let's have a recap of the national health policies major targets. So you must have heard about the 2.5% target of the government. So do you know that that target is proposed in the NHP only? So it proposed 2.5% expenditure on the healthcare sector. So this 2.5% is of the GDP on the healthcare sector by 2025. It has one more target, and that target is to have more than 8% of the expenditure of the total budget of the state on the healthcare sector. I hope it is clear and it is not much planted. It's not clear. Okay. Let me just rewrite it. So 2.5% of the GDP on the healthcare sector. Okay, by 2025, this is one target. Second target is having more than 8% of the expenditure on the healthcare sector by the states, and this 8% is of the total budget or GDP, total GDP of the state. Okay. Then there is one more target in the NHP, which is very important from your exams perspective, and that is to reduce the household expenditure on the healthcare sector by 25% by 2025. Okay, so these are the targets, and this 8% target is by 2020. Okay, so these are the targets related to the finances of the healthcare sector. And do remember that the national health policy contains many more facts as well. And I hope you have prepared the basics of the national health policy, the basics of the NFSA, and the basics of the major social sectors. Okay, major topics or guidelines related to the social sector. Now here we are seeing that 2.5% of the GDP by 2025 is the target of the center to spend on the healthcare sector. Now, what does the economic survey of 2022 to 2023 say? So it says that the budgeted estimate for FY23 on the infrastructure related to the healthcare was 0.06% of the GDP. Okay, so this is one of the important information. I hope, guys, you all are enthusiastic and not getting bored. ठीक है, this is a very important topic, so please you have to bear with the session even if it is getting long, although we have just started with the session and I'm asking you this fact, but still थोड़ी सी हिम्मत बना के रखोगे तभी आपका पेपर निकलेगा, नहीं तो ऐसे नहीं निकलेगा, ठीक है। Okay, just give me a second, I am going to zoom it out. Okay, so that you guys can see. Okay, so we have the first, ठीक है, the first district good governance index of the Jammu Kashmir Union Territory. Now, before going into the depths, let me just tell you that Arunachal Pradesh has also released its uh, district good governance index, and Gujarat has also released. Okay, now your task is to quickly tell me how many districts are there in Arunachal Pradesh and how many districts are there in Gujarat, because Gujarat, AP, and your Jammu Kashmir, these are the three states and two states and one UT which have released their district good governance index. Now, as far as this index is concerned, I hope all of you know this fact that it is modeled on the state good governance index released by the government of India. Now, the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances is the same organization, is the same department under the Ministry of Personnel, which releases the good governance index at the national level. It has collaborated with the states and the UT to release their district good governance index. And one more thing, that the Center for Good Governance in Hyderabad is the technology partner of all these three, okay, in preparation of the district good governance index. Moving ahead, 20 districts are in Jammu Kashmir which were covered. Jammu district topped, then 10 governance sectors having 58 indicators and 116 data points were used. Now, these are the 10 governance sectors which have been taken from the Central Good Governance Index. Okay, so, okay, it is written here only. So, these are the 10 sectors. Okay, agriculture and allied sector, commerce and industry, human resource development, public health, public infrastructure utilities, social welfare and development, financial inclusion, judiciary and public safety, environment, citizen-centric governance. So these are the major 10 sectors which all of you should remember. Why? Because they are picked up directly from the State Good Governance Index. Okay. Moving ahead. And do remember the sectors remain the same in Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh Index also. Now tell me, let's see how many of you have told me the total number of districts. Okay. Obviously, guys, when I am talking about the GDP of the state, so it is the state GDP, right? Okay, now why are you guys not giving me the answer of how many districts are there in Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh? Okay, data is not visible. Just give me a second. Let me make the data visible. And don't worry about the PDF, guys. You are going to get the PDF, okay, of the session. I hope the data is visible now. Yes, it is quite large. The font size is quite large. I hope it is now visible. And in case you are not able to see the data, I would recommend you all, if you can, then do watch the session on the laptop. Okay? Sectors, only the sectors were same. Okay? Dekho. Agriculture and allied sector is the same sector that has been taken from the State Good Governance Index. As I told you that the district one is modeled on the State Good Governance Index. So that means that the major parameters have been taken from that particular state index, and all the, you can say, methodology has also been copied from there. Now let's move on to the next report. One more thing, guys, that all the international organizations which are involved in releasing particular reports like this, International Labour Organization, like the World Economic Forum, I am leaving all these organizations. I'm not discussing about these organizations here because I'm assuming that you have prepared the international and regional organizations from the static GK documents. Okay. So please, if you haven't done that, do this after the session. Okay. So please, this is your responsibility. Now coming back to this particular report, International Labour Organization has released the World Employment and Social Outlook report. As per the report, the global employment level can increase by 1% in 2023. The growth rate was 2.3% in 2022. So this clearly shows that in 2023, the employment rate is going to reduce. Okay, although reduce in comparison to the previous year, although it will show an increase. Okay, increase to hoga, but पिछले comparison के according decrease होगा. So the rate of increment is not as compared to the rate of increment which we saw in 2022. Next is that the global unemployment rate would stand at 5.8% in 2023. Now guys, do pay attention to this fact that these two statements appear to be in contradiction to each other, but they are not in contradiction. Why? Because this particular statement is saying that the global employment level is going to increase by 1%. That means more people are going to be employed. New employment opportunities will generate in 2023. Whereas this statement is saying that the unemployment rate, that means the number of people unemployed out of the total workforce, sorry, labor force, not the workforce, would stand at 5.8%. Okay, so although the level of employment will increase, but in 2023 there will be 5.8% of the people in the labor force who would remain unemployed. Okay, so these are two different statements and not the contradictory statements. Okay, so I hope this is clear. And now this page is showing you different pictures. For example, 473 million is the job gap. This means that the 473 million people, just give me a second. 473 million people want employment, 205 million of them are unemployed. Okay, so job gap ka meaning ye hai. Then the gender gap, 2 times. So the gender gap is twice. So twice as many women as men are outside the labor force. Then 23.5% of youth are not in education, employment or training. Okay, so they will definitely add up to the unemployed people in the future. Okay, because right now they are not getting any education, any skills or any employment training. Then how will they get employed? So they will definitely add up to the list of the unemployed people. Then we have 2 billion informal employment, 214 million working poverty. This means that 214 million workers are in extreme poverty. That means they are earning less than the US dollar 1.9 PPP. ठीक है, purchasing power parity of these people is less than 1.9 US dollar per day. 47% of the population are covered by at least one form of social protection. 8% inequality is there. Half of the workers earn only 8% of the global labor income, and we see that. Okay, then we have productivity gap. Labor productivity is 18 times greater in high income countries than in low income countries. Obviously, when you don't have to worry about travel, when you don't have to spend 2 hours of yours in the traveling in Bangalore, which majority of the workers have to do, then obviously your productivity will increase, because that time you will utilize in your productivity. So in the high income countries, the major problems, the very minuscule problems which have become major now, are not faced by the working age population. Then employment, 118 million people's employment to be abolished. 116 million children are in child labor and 28 million workers are in forced labor. So this data, these many people should be put out of the workforce. Okay, because they are either child labor or they are forced to work. Okay, so this is something that needs to be abolished. So this was the data. Next is our annual state of education report. Okay, so ASA or ASAR, whatever you want to pronounce it. So this is the report. Now here with R, you can report, you can substitute the word report with rural. Okay, this way you will be in a better position to remember the contents of this report. Okay, I have done the same to remember this particular report. So annual status of education report or rural is basically an annual publication. Okay, and it assesses two things. First is the school level participation or the enrollment, and second is the learning level. So schooling status of children aged 3 to 16 and learning levels of children aged 5 to 16 in the rural areas. That is why I substituted report with rural in order to remember the content of this particular report. What are the highlights of this report? So first highlight is that almost 98.4% students in the age bracket of 6 to 14 are now enrolled in school. Now guys, 6 to 14, I hope you remember something. Do you remember something? So guys, 6 to 14 is your right to education's limit. So right to education was passed in 2009, enacted in 2010. 1st April 2010 ko right to education was enacted, and under this, the state was put under obligation to provide free and compulsory education to all in the age bracket of 6 to 14. ठीक है, सो इससे एक तो ये चीज याद रखनी है. सेकंड चीज दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर इज द आर्टिकल 21A which guarantees the right to education as a fundamental right. ठीक है, मतलब not exactly in the sense of the other fundamental rights, but yes, it recognizes the right to education in the right to life. Okay, article 21 is right to life, and in that particular article, the very first clause is about education. How can you have a dignified life if you don't have access to education? So that is something that has been ensured by the article 21A, and after this article insertion, then right to education. So I hope that this thing you now remember. As far as the ASO is concerned, so it was last conducted in 2018, and now it has been released after a duration of 4 years. Because of the COVID, it might got delayed. In 2022, 7 lakh candidates from these schools, 19,000 schools in 616 districts were surveyed. Manipur has the lowest government school enrollment percentage in the northeastern states. Okay, so this is a pure fact that all of you should remember. Now coming to this particular graph, what does this graph suggest? First of all, divide the graph into two parts. This particular part is the reading ability of the students, and this particular part is showing you the arithmetic ability. Then we have taken two class students, okay? Class 5th students, class 8th students. Then blue shows boys, green shows girls. Okay? Now, as far as the reading capability is concerned, in the class 5th, then 41.2 children are 41.2 boys are able to read at the grade 2 level. Okay, so basically a child is in the class 5th, a boy is in the class 5th, and he is able to read the level of class 2nd. Okay, so this clearly shows that there is a deficiency in the education system of ours, and this needs to improve. Then as far as the girls are concerned, so 44.3 is the data or the number for them. Okay, and this is obviously, you guys know that it's the percentage of children. Then as far as the grade 8 level is concerned, as far as reading is concerned, so 67.6% of boys in the 8th class are able to read the second standard textbooks. Okay, again this is a very sad picture. 8th class ka bachcha hai, and then still we have approximately 30% of the students who are in the 8th class and are not able to read the second class textbook. This is a very grim picture of our education system in the rural areas. 71.3% of the girls are able to read, and the remaining are not able to read. That means 29% of them are not able to read even the second class textbook. This data should have been 100%, that 100% students are able to read the second class textbook, but this is not happening. As far as the arithmetic is concerned, the divide So in the grade 5th, 26.6% of the boys are able to divide. Then 24.6% of the girls are able to divide. In class 8, 45.8% boys and 43.6% girls. Okay, so clearly in the maths, we can clearly see the data is less than the reading. We have two more graphs. Now guys, this graph is showing you the percentage of schools with functioning facilities. All India rural data 2018 and 2022. So this is green wala is 2018 data, blue is 2022's data. Okay, and we have different parameters. Drinking water, so we can clearly see that there is an increment in the facilities. Then we have usable toilets, again increment. Then we have library books, again increment. Although the library parameter is one of the lowest performing parameters. So it means that in majority of the rural schools, there is no library. Okay? Then midday meal served. So again, improvement is there. Then computers, improvement is there. 6.5 to 7.9%, but still, again, it is the lowest performing parameter. That means majority of the rural areas, schools do not have computer. And how will the children of the rural areas will be able to compete with the children of urban areas if they do not have the access to computer? How will they digitally literate themselves and at the same time acquire the software and hardware skills that are needed in the present time? So this clearly shows the regional disparity as far as the skills are concerned, and also the literacy of the technology is concerned, technological literacy is concerned. So there is a regional disparity, and you can cite this data in your ESI answer in the future as well. Okay. So here guys, this is the last picture, the last table. So it shows the percentage of children who are taking tuition classes in the government and private schools. What is the meaning of tuition classes in the government and private school? It means that extra classes, okay, which are needed to improve the performance of the children in the school premises only. It is not the private tuitions. It is within the school premises. Okay. So Assam had had an increment. Almost all the states have witnessed an increment in the tuition classes. This is showing an improvement in the school curriculum, or we can say the efforts by the school in improving the performance of the children. And at the same time, it also shows the need for the children to have extra classes other than the school hours. Okay, so clearly this shows that suppose in Bihar, the number is high, 71.7%. So it shows that the school hours are not sufficient for the children living in Bihar to compete or to understand the syllabus. So this kind of a data helps in policy making, curriculum designing. So that is why such data are released as part of these reports, and these reports become important. I hope guys you are not getting bored. ठीक है, 86th amendment, very good Mohit Singh, बढ़िया. 86th amendment के through article 21A was inserted into the constitution. Okay, so Indian institutional ranking framework has released the top management and business school rankings. So these are the top 5 government colleges, these are the top 5 private colleges in India. Clearly a factual data, no need for discussion. World's top B schools consist of London Business School, first number पे, then Wharton University of Pennsylvania. ठीक है? Then we have another data on the education. Ministry of Education has released the All India Survey on Higher Education. That one was for the rural areas and the school education. ठीक है? ऐसा report. And this is guys All India Survey of Survey on Higher Education. This is for higher education. ठीक है? And higher education is your college, university education. Okay, so first of all, the total enrollment in higher education has increased to nearly 4.14 crore in 2020 to 2021. This data will not be asked from you in the examination. Percentages are most often asked. Female enrollment has increased to 2.01 crore from 1.88 in 2019 to 20. Female enrollment is important. Gross enrollment ratio has also increased. So as per the 2011 population census, for 18 to 23-year-old, the GER has increased to 27.3% in comparison to 25.6%. This means that all the people in the age group of 18 to 23, out of those 27.3% are enrolled in the higher educational institutions, and the total number of population has been based on the 2011 census. Okay, this much is clear. Then female GER has overtaken the male GER. That means females are enrolling more in higher education. Okay, then do remember it is the ratio. Gender parity index, the ratio of female GER to male GER has increased from 1 to 1.05 in 2020 to 2021. This is again a very important data. Top 6 states in terms of number of students enrolled. Uttar Pradesh is 1, Maharashtra 2nd, Tamil Nadu 3rd, Madhya Pradesh 4th, Karnataka and Rajasthan 5th and 6th. Now guys, we have talked so much about the gross enrollment ratio. I would like to ask you the targets of NEP as far as the GER is concerned. So quickly tell me the target of your gross enrollment ratio as per the NEP, National Education Policy 2020, at the primary level, primary and secondary level, that means at the school level, and at the higher education level. Quickly tell me guys. Very good, Nilesh. Suryavanshi has given the answer correctly. Absolutely correct. It's 2035. Okay, 1 second. Yes. So primary education, the target is 100%, and for for higher education, it is 50% by 2035, and this is by 2030. Okay. Vidyarthi Sevi. This is the only part for reports and indices, and I guess you are liking the session so much, that's why you are asking me the second part of it. But don't be so hasty. This session is going to stretch a little bit because we have a total of 60 reports to be covered in this particular document and this particular session. Okay. Chaliye, as far as the faculty is concerned, so total number of faculty is this 15 lakh approximately, which is about 57.1% are male, 42.9% are females. Female per 100 faculty member is the ratio stands at 75% in 2020 to 2021. Okay. Then the institute of national importance, so they have doubled from 75 to 149 in 2020 to 2021. The states with highest number of university, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat. The institutes exclusively for women, so 17 universities are exclusively for women, and 4,000 colleges are exclusively for women. Global Quality Infrastructure Index 2021. It was released by Meso Partner and Analytical, okay, to research and data on the quality infrastructure. Do remember, it is not infrastructure's quality, it is the quality's infrastructure. That means we are going to assess the infrastructure of the quality measurement. For example, if we are selling tur dal, okay, we are selling pulses. So what is the quality? How is the quality ascertained in India? That is something that will be measured in this quality infrastructure. Okay, so how are we measuring the quality of our products? That is the meaning of quality infrastructure. A total of 184 countries were assessed. Germany has the highest, or you can say the most advanced quality infrastructure. Okay, so as far as the products of Germany are concerned and their quality is concerned, so they are top notch as far as the quality standards are concerned. Then India stands at the 10th rank overall out of the 184 country, which is a very good ranking, and it is going to give a boost to Indian exports. Three parameters were used. Accreditation, which organization is giving the accreditation? Is the organization worthy? For example, the Bureau of Indian Standards. Is the BIS worthy of giving the accreditation? Standardization, on what basis are the products measured? Okay. Then metrology. Metrology is basically the quantity, the measurement of the quantity and the price. Okay. For example, if on a packet of dal 10 kgs is written and the quantity is 8 kgs only, so that would be a malfunctioning, or you can say deficiency in the metrology. Okay, so these are the three parameters. Quality infrastructure is the backbone of international trade, because metrology, standardization and accreditation is important, and if any product is not of quality, then why would any other country purchase that, right? Now Germany is at the first, China is at the second, then US third number pe, UK is at the fourth number, Japan is at fifth position, then we have France, Korea, Italy, Spain, and then we have our India at the 10th position. And here we have our rankings in different parameters, which is very important, and the total score is also important. 0.932 is the total score of India. Okay. Then Financial Times organization has released the top MBA universities and institutes ranking, which you can clearly see here. The world's number one is Columbia Business School, US ka, and India's top is Indian School of Business at 39th position. Okay, rest you can read on your own as well. Factual data pe I am not focusing too much, because you guys know this fact that factual is something that you can read on your own. Okay. Okay. So Services Trade Restrictiveness Index has been released by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Again, cover this organization, all the important ones. For the year 2022, India stands at the 47th position, up from 48th position last year. Total 50 countries are there, so definitely it is not a very good position for India to stand at. Okay. Then we have parameters of this Service Trade Restrictiveness Index. So it measures the government policies in several sectors that define the ease of trading in the services, okay, in those sectors and industries. The score is 0 to 1. Okay, on the scale of 0 to 1, 0 represents least restriction, okay, and 1 represents no restriction. Okay, so this is the scale. As far as the ranking is concerned, so Japan is at the first position, total is 50. India is at the 47th position. We have Israel preceding us in the 1 position up, and Russia following us in the 1 position down. Okay. White Shield, which is a policy advisory firm, has released the Global Labor Resilience Index 2023 during the World Government Summit. Quickly tell me, which country organizes the World Government Summit on a regular basis? Regular as in yearly basis. Quickly tell me, कौन सी सरकार या कौन सा देश वर्ल्ड गवर्नमेंट समिट को ऑर्गेनाइज करता है? NABARD annual report is different. These are the reports and indices released by different organizations. Okay, so particular indices, for example, we are reading right now Global Labor Resilience Index. So this is different, and NABARD's annual report is completely different topic. Okay, and that is very important. So both of the topics are important. So आपको वेट करना पड़ेगा जब NABARD का एनुअल रिपोर्ट का पार्ट 2 आएगा. वी विल इन्फॉर्म यू. ठीक है, जल्दी ही आएगा, इसी वीक में आ जाएगा. ठीक है. अरे किसी को भी नहीं पता, nobody knows about it. It's UAE. The World Government Summit is organized in Dubai annually by UAE government. ठीक है. 136 countries were assessed in the Global Labor Resilience Index. Denmark is at top, followed by Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands, Singapore, and Sweden. So these are the following countries. India's rank is 65th. So out of 136 countries, we are ranked at the 65th position, which in my opinion is not a very bad position. Although if we improve and come into the top 10, then it is it would be a very rosy picture. Okay? And very nice for our labor force also. Parameters were technological disruption, pandemics, green economy transition, etc. So on these parameters, the resilience of the labor force was assessed. Okay. More than one third of the countries, that is 49 countries out of the 136, scored less than 50 out of the 100 on the labor market resilience. Okay. So the labor market resilience is not very, you can say, strong in 49 countries out of the 136. Next is US Chamber of Commerce Global Innovation Policy Center has released the International Intellectual Property Index 2023. Okay. One more thing, that it is an intellectual property index. Then many of you might get confused in the exam that WIPO has released this index. Okay, so WIPO has not released the International Intellectual Property Index. It is the US Chamber of Commerce which has released this index. WIPO has released the Global Innovation Index recently, which we are going to cover in this particular session only. This index is going to come in the session. Okay, it is there. Now, as far as this intellectual property index is concerned, 55 countries are in total. USA has topped. India stands at 42nd position. The score of India is 38.64%. Bottom is Venezuela. Now, how many parameters are there? So 8 parameters are there. Patents, copyright, trademark, design rights, trade secrets, commercialization of IP assets, enforcement, systematic efficiency. These are the parameters on which the IP index has been prepared. Now guys, your task is to read about WIPO. Okay? This WIPO organization is very, very important. Next is WHO, UNICEF, World Bank and UN Population Fund and UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs have released the Trends in Maternal Mortality 2000 to 2020 report. Okay? As far as this report is concerned, the global scenario is concerned, in 2020, 2,87,000 women globally died from a maternal cause, equivalent to 800 maternal deaths every day and approximately 1 in 2 minutes. Okay, so the global maternal mortality rate in 2020 was estimated at 223 maternal deaths per 1 lakh live births, whereas the Sustainable Development Goals 3.1 target says that the maternal mortality rate should be 70 per 1 lakh live births. Okay, so this is the target. SDG 3 is for good health and well-being, and the target 3.1 says that the maternal mortality rate should be reduced to 70 per 1 lakh. Okay, this is very, very important. Do remember this. And in 2020, as far as this report is concerned, it was 223. So there would be a huge effort that is required to reduce this number, which is above 200, to 70. Okay. Obviously, we have seen a reduction from 2000, and the reduction percentage is 34.3%. The annual rate of reduction in global MMR was 2.1%. This is the annualized rate. Okay, per year the rate was 2.1%, but the total reduction rate in the 20 years is 34.3%. Okay? India, with 24,000 maternal mortality deaths, stands at the world's first country as far as the burden of maternal mortality is concerned. Okay, then we have Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, accounting for 8.3%, 7.5%, 3.6% respectively. Okay, do remember the number of India and the contribution of India in the maternal mortality. India's MMR is 103. India has improved its MMR from the previous performance, but still, definitely we need improvement. There is one state which has achieved, which has even less than the MMR of the SDG. Can anyone tell me the name of that state? So guys, it is none other than our Kerala state. Okay. Okay. So here you can clearly see the different digits, the different datas, which obviously you don't have to remember everything. What you have to remember is the total MMR of India. Then you have to remember the number of maternal deaths. Okay, so this is something that is very important. And then you can remember this PM point estimate as well. Although this one is not very significant, but these two datas are very significant. Okay. Now, next report is Brand Finance Telecom 150 2023 report. And Brand Finance is one organization which releases the report assessing the different organizations on the basis of the value of their brands in the international market. Okay? So, this report has Swisscom at the first position, then our Geo is at the second position in the world as far as the telecom industry is concerned. So, Geo brand is the world's second best telecom brand. मूविंग अहेड, इस रिपोर्ट में बस इतना ही था, इससे ज्यादा नहीं पढ़ना. ठीक है. One more thing that you should be aware of is that the country US stands at the first position in the telecom sector as far as the brand value of its companies is concerned. Then we have China, Germany, Japan, UK, France, and others. Okay. India does not position among these top countries, but still it is it is a matter of doubt that one company positions in the world's top 10, and that too at the second position. Moving ahead, World Bank has released the Women, Business and the Law 2023 report. Now, as per this report, India still needs more legislation to provide equal pay to women working in the equal, you can say, working of the same, doing the work of the same value. Okay, so we need to have the legislation for that, and still we are performing very poor. So Indian working women pay and pension do not provide for equality with Indian men, dragging India's score to 74.4 out of 100. India scored higher than the 63.7 average for the South Asian region, okay, but lower than Nepal, which had the region's highest score of 80.6. So we have the South Asian region's average score. South Asia ka average score is 63.7. In the South Asian region, we have Nepal, which has the highest score, 80.6, and India scores at 74.4. Okay? Out of the 190 countries which were assessed in this report, 14 scored a perfect 100, providing for the gender equality. Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, Iceland, Ireland, Latvia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain and Sweden. These are the 14 countries having 100 score. India needs to improve laws that I have already told you. Next, we have VDAM Institute, which is an institute based in Sweden. It has released its democracy report, which is very important report. 202 countries were assessed. Then it has different sub-indices. Okay, so let me show you the picture only. Through that, you will be able to remember more. Okay. So, सबसे पहली चीज that you need to remember is that India has been placed in the list of electoral autocracy. We have chosen the autocrats by the means of elections. This is the clear interpretation of electoral autocracy. Now coming to the list, so Denmark is at the top. Then we have India's ranking at the 97th position in the Liberal Democracy Index. In the Electoral Democracy Index, India stands at 108 position. Then liberal component index, India's position is 90. Egalitarian component index, 123rd position. Participation component index, 73rd position. Then deliberative component index, 95th position of India. Now, what you have to remember overall in this particular picture. Firstly, the scores or the ranks of India in all these sub-indices and the scores as well. Secondly, the top one country. For example, in liberal democracy index, Denmark is at the top. In electoral also, Denmark is at the top. But in liberal component index, we have Sweden at the top. Okay, so you can clearly see the this picture. In this picture, the number one position is shifting. Okay, so in egalitarian component index, Norway is at the first position. Then participatory index, Switzerland is at the first position, and in the deliberative component index, we have Norway again at the first position. Okay, and this is basically the regimes. Okay, autocracy, closed economy, closed autocracy, electoral autocracy. Then in the democracy, we have electoral democracy and liberal democracy. And what are the features of these democracies? This is something that you can read for fun. Okay, not it is not going to be asked in the examination. Next is Global Public Policy Institute has released the Academic Freedom Index 2023 report. Okay. 179 countries were assessed in this report. Czech Republic, Estonia, Belgium. These are the top 3 countries. Now, first of all, this is an index, but it does not give ranking. It basically groups the countries into different categories. Okay, and on the basis of that, it puts the countries into them. You will understand it better when you see this particular graph. Okay. So here you can see the top 10%. This is the one category, and then we have the bottom 20 to 30%. Okay. The remaining categories I have not included in this index because that is not of our use. India's score is 0.38. As I told you, it does not give ranking. So it has given the score. 0.38 is India's score. And India is positioned among 20 to 30% of the bottom listed countries. Next is parameters. So first is freedom to research and teach. Then we have freedom of academic exchange and dissemination. Institutional autonomy of universities. कितनी institutional autonomy है, कितना ज़्यादा universities अपने according काम कर सकती हैं. Then campus integrity, the freedom of academic and cultural expression. Score scale is 0 to 1. Okay. Next is SIPRI, that is Stockholm International Peace Research Institute has released the Trends in International Arms Transfers 2022 report. Okay, so you already know this fact that SIPRI releases such reports. Okay. Now, the 5 largest arms importers. Chalo, let me show you this through the picture only. So firstly, this is the data of the exporters. So according to SIPRI's report, the world's top exporters, US, in 2018 to 2022, it accounted for 40% of the total exports of the world. Then we have Russia at 16%, France at 11%, China at 5.2%, Germany at 4.2%. Okay. So you can clearly see nobody is even near to US, okay? And then we have USA, the world's largest democracy, not the largest democracy, but the world's oldest democracy or the founder of democracy as they claim, and the carriers of the peace as they claim. But ठीक है, हथियार बेचने वाले कभी भी peace की बात नहीं कर सकते. So we can clearly see here, they are the arms exporters, 40% of the global share they hold in 2018 to 2022. Now, as far as the other data are concerned, do not remember these data, the percentage shifts and the previous year contribution. Nobody is going to ask you that. As far as the importers are concerned, clearly India is not in the list of exporters, but it is in the list of importers, and that too at the first position. So we account for 11% of the arms imports. Now we can clearly see that with the initiatives like IDEX, we are trying to create our own products, okay, our own defense products. And also we are exporting the defense products, be it the BrahMos, be it the Tejas Tejas, be it other kinds of ammunitions and weapons, we are working on them and we are exporting it to other countries. Soon we can reduce our arms imports and list in the list of exporters, which will be a very good thing for our economy. Okay. So India accounted for 11% share in the global imports. Then Saudi Arabia is at the 9.6%. Then Qatar, Australia, China. Okay. So these are the top 5. Next is QS World University Ranking by subject. So it gives the rankings on the basis of the subject. So as far as arts and humanities is concerned, so world's best is Harvard University. Engineering and technology is concerned, so MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology is number 1. And if you want your brother, sister or your child in the future to study engineering in India in the top best, then we have IIT Bombay at the best position as far as this ranking is concerned. Although तब तक तो नई rankings आ जाएगी, but life sciences and medicine, Harvard University is top, India में कोई भी नहीं, ठीक है. Natural sciences, Harvard University is again at the top position. Then in the mathematics, okay, in the natural sciences we have different categories, and out of those categories in mathematics, IIT Bombay is at the top position, which is 92nd rank global. IIT Madras at 98th position. Then social sciences and management, so Harvard University is again at the top, and we do not have any institute from India. Next is UNCTAD has released the Technology and Innovation Report 2023. So as per this report, green technologies are going to flourish. The market is going to increase by $9.5 trillion US by 2030. The total exports of green technology from developed countries increased to more than $156 billion in 2021 from 60 billion in 2018. Obviously, this data is not important. This one is important. Yeah. While exports from developing countries rose to only about $75 billion, the export of the green technologies by the developed countries rose more than that. Okay, it rose more than double. Okay. So this report included the Frontier Technology Readiness Index, and in that particular index, 166 countries were assessed, and out of these 166 countries, India stands at the 46th position. Next is the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network has released the World Happiness Report. First of all, happiness is measured on very objective elements. For example, social support, income, health, freedom, generosity, and absence of corruption. So these are the parameters on which the happiness of people in a country are judged. So 136 countries are assessed. Finland is at the top. Then we have India is at the 126th position. In 2022, India was at the 136th position. But pay attention that last year, the total number of countries was 146. Now it is 136. Although if you see relatively, the shift in the position does not make any difference, okay, because earlier also we were 10 positions down, we were the bottom 11th. Now also we are the bottom 11th country, okay, at the 126th position, 10 points down. Okay, bottom is Afghanistan. One more thing, that Lithuania is the new entrant in the top 20. It is at the top 20th position. Then Institute of Economics and Peace has released the Global Terrorism Index. Guess who would be at the first position? It was the 10th edition of this. Afghanistan would be at the first position. So kahin to first hai Afghanistan. It's very nice. So total countries 163. Most affected is Afghanistan. India's rank is 13th, which is very poor. Why? Because 163 countries में से we are at the 13th position as far as terrorism is concerned. So clearly we are not very performing very good as far as the terrorist activities are concerned in our nation. Okay? The score of India is 7.175. Then State Energy Efficiency Index 21-22. Bureau of Energy Efficiency has released it in association with Alliance for an Energy Efficient Economy. The purpose is to assess the energy efficiency measures that the governments are taking. Quickly tell me what is the name of the scheme that the government is implementing for reducing the NPAs of the discoms? Quickly tell me. जल्दी से बताओ. आप 11th क्लास में अर्जुन एंड यस शिवम यू आर गोइंग टू गेट द PDF. ओके अभी आप 11th क्लास में हैं तो प्लीज 11th 12th को अच्छे से करो बिकॉज 11th 12th आर द बेसिक्स. ओके whatever you are going to choose in your college, the foundation of that is laid in your 11th 12th. Okay, so prepare it very thoroughly. Best, very good. Uday's scheme is there. Nilesh Suryavanshi, very good. Coming to the index, 36 states and union territories were assessed. 50 indicators were assessed across 7 sectors: building, industry, municipal services, transport, agriculture, electricity distribution companies, and cross sectors. So these are the 7 different domains in which 50 indicators were there and the states were just on that. Period of assessment 2022 to 21, 21 to 22. States were divided into 4 categories. Pay attention guys, please pay attention. Front runner, achiever, contender, aspirant. Okay? Front runner, achiever, contender, aspirant. Do remember 4 categories. Then in the front runner, we have Andhra Pradesh at the top. Karnataka, Kerala, Rajasthan, Telangana. All of these have scores higher than 60. Okay? Then in the achiever category, we have Assam, Haryana, Maharashtra and Punjab. Their scores are between 50 to 60. Then in the contender category, we have Chandigarh, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Their score is between 30 to 49.5. So do pay attention to the score range in each category. ठीक है, front runner की score range is more than 60. ठीक है, and contender की you can clearly see 30 to 49.5. Then aspirants, remaining 99 UT states are aspirants, their score is below 30. ठीक है. Okay, so one more thing, that the National Energy Conservation Awards 2022 were given when this report was released. Karnataka is first, Andhra Pradesh second, Assam is third. Economist Intelligence Unit has released the Business Environment Rankings 2023. 82 countries were assessed on 91 indicators. Singapore, Canada and Denmark are the top 3 countries. Then out of these 17 economies in the Asian region, India is ranked at the 10th in 2023. 2023 to 2027 forecast period, up from 14th position in 2018 to 2022 period. So basically this business environment ranking has given the forecast for a particular tenure. So 2023 to 2027 May, India's position is going to stay at 10th rank. Okay. So here guys, this okay, so Stanford University has released the Artificial Intelligence Index Report 2023. It has assessed 127 countries and obviously it is an AI index report. So what would it rank? What would it assess? It would assess the implementation of AI and investment in AI by different countries. Okay? So it is doing that. So total investment in AI startups in India stood at 3.24 billion in 2022. Okay? So it is ahead of South Korea, Germany, Canada and Australia. India is ranked behind US, China and UK and Israel. AI startups in India received a total funding of 7.73 billion during 2013 to 2022. And during that period, India was the 6th largest country with most AI investments. But in 2022, we received $3.24 billion. As far as the geographical area is concerned, so as far as if we look at the geographies which have received the highest investment in AI, US is at the top position, then we have China, UK, Israel, and at the 5th position we have our India. Okay, and here you have been given the amounts of investment, okay, in US billion dollars. Again, UNCTAD, do read about this particular organization has released, this UNCTAD has released Trade and Development Report update global trends and prospects. So as per this report, India's economic growth is going to decline 6% in 2023 from 6.6% in 2022. Very important data from this particular report. Okay? The reason is slowing global growth, the financial fallout because of the rising interest rate. Quickly tell me the rate RBI has projected for India, the GDP growth rate RBI has forecasted for India. Tell me that. Very good. Yash, Abhishek, Nilesh, absolutely right. It is 6.5%. But do remember, here we are not talking about the uh, it is basically the growth rate, the GDP growth rate, 6% that this particular report has forecasted for India. And this is the GDP rate which RBI has forecasted for the current year. Okay. And here you can clearly see the output growth over the years, and it is 4.7% in 2023. Okay. So that is the data. Next is our logistics performance index of the World Bank. Okay. 139 countries were assessed. Singapore is at the first position. Then India's rank is 38th out of the 139 countries. So again, very good position relatively. Now, logistics performance indexes, what it would assess. It would assess the customs, it would assess the infrastructure, international shipments, logistics competence, and equality timeliness, because in trade, in logistics, timeliness is very, very important. Okay, if you are not able to deliver the product, the raw material on time, the production will get delayed, the market access of that product will get delayed, and everything will be in delay and lead to losses. Then we have tracking and tracing. Scale of score is 0 to 5, okay, where 0 denotes lowest, 5 denotes the highest score. Singapore is at the first position. Okay. Then we have Finland, Denmark, Germany, Netherlands, and here we have India at the 38th global rank. Okay. India's score is 3.4%. This is something that you have to remember. Lower bound is not important, upper bound is not important. Then we have rankings based on the different parameters as well. So in customs, India's score is 3.0 and the global ranking of India is 47th. Okay, in customs. In infrastructure, India's global ranking is 47th again. Score is 3.2. Score may change hai, rank same hai. Then international shipments, 22nd position, 3.5 score. Logistics and competence, India's rank is 38th. Score is 3.5. Timeliness, 35th position globally, and 3.6 is the score. Tracking and tracing, 41 position, 3.4 is the score. Okay, so whatever I have encircled here is important for you to remember. Okay. Apart from this, the top countries and their scores, which you can clearly see, is in the fourth line. Okay, it is in the fourth digit, whereas India's score in all the parameters is near 3, 3.5, 3.4, 3.2. So this is the Department of Science and Technology and United Nations Industrial Development Organization has prepared and released the National Manufacturing Innovation Survey 2021 to 2022. Before going into this survey, I want to ask you that this UN Industrial Development Organization was created to fulfill a SDG. Quickly tell me which SDG am I talking about here? जल्दी से बताओ एसडीजी विच एसडीजी एम आई टॉकिंग अबाउट यूएन इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वर्क्स फॉर विच एसडीजी It's very bad, Sarjal, Nilesh, that you haven't memorized the SDGs. यार ये बहुत बेसिक चीज है, इसको याद करो. SDGs कौन सा टारगेट क्या कहता है या किस बारे में, एटलीस्ट इतना तो आपको पता होना चाहिए. If you would have known that, then you did not give the wrong answer here. ठीक है? If you had prepared for that, your answer would have been correct. चलिए. So Yash Yadav has given the correct answer. It is 9, SDG 9, which is for industrial development and innovation. Industrial development and innovation. Okay. Now this is, guys, National Manufacturing Innovation Survey. Okay. So it basically examines the innovation in the manufacturing processes. This is a follow-up of the first National Innovation Survey, which was conducted in 2011. Okay, so it has two components. First is firm level survey and sectoral system of innovation. 8,000 firms were assessed in the firm level survey. 5,000 firms were assessed in the sectoral system of innovation survey from 28 states, 6 union territories. Now the results. Karnataka is the most innovative state in manufacturing, followed by Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Haryana. ठीक है. Karnataka also has the highest number of companies in manufacturing that carry out innovation. Guys, I'm having a doubt here. Was it Telangana which has the highest number of companies that carry out the manufacturing, that carry out the innovation? Please tell me, was it Telangana or was it Karnataka? I'm having a doubt here. Chaliye, let's move ahead for the time period. Let's leave this point here. I will make the correction if the correction is there and give you the PDF on the Telegram channel. Uttarakhand has topped among the hill states. Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman-Diu topped among the UTs. Innovation in manufacturing is the lowest in the northeastern states, obviously because वहाँ पे तो ज़्यादा manufacturing भी नहीं है और infrastructure भी नहीं है, तो innovation कैसे होगा? ठीक है? Followed by Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. Out of the total firm survey, 25.01% were considered innovative, which means a quarter of the total surveyed firms were innovative. Okay. Here you have been given the details of the UNIDO, that is United Nations Industrial Development Organization. So it is a specialized agency of the UN, works for SDG 9. 1966 is the establishment. Vienna is the headquarters. 171 member states are there, and Gerd Muller is the Director General. And here is the list of UN specialized agencies. Okay, so that the next report is the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report. I think this is something that would interest you a lot because आप सभी job के लिए ही पढ़ रहे हैं. So future of job report. What would be the future of jobs? The report finds analytical thinking, creative thinking, and AI and big data are the top in-demand skills by 2027. Obviously, we are having AI flourishing every sector, so definitely we are going to have AI, big data, creative thinking, and analytical thinking as the part of the skill requirements in the job market. Between 23 to 27, businesses predict that 44% of the workers' core skills will be disrupted because technology is moving faster than anything, faster than companies can design and scale up their training programs. Okay, so these are the top 10 skills. And guys, once you are selected in NABARD examination, in the NABARD job, do try to work on any of these skills which is very much in close to your personality, but do work on your skills because reinventing is very important. ठीक है, अपने आप को change करते रहना, improve करते रहना is basically the essence of life. So इनमें से कोई सी भी skill लो ताकि आपका promotion भी जल्दी हो जाए. पहले तो job में हो जाए आप लोग, ठीक है, और उसके लिए आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा और पढ़ने के लिए आपको patiently session के end तक रुकना पड़ेगा. Top 10 skills on the rise. I think this was the same picture above. Okay. So let's move ahead. International Transport Forum released the Transport Outlook 2023 report, not at all an important report. But this ITF is important, International Transport Forum. So it is an OECD's organization. Okay? It is a part of the OECD. It is an intergovernmental organization with 66 member countries, including India. Okay? It is a think tank for transport policy and organizes the annual summit of the transport ministry. It is the only global body that covers all the transport modes. It is administratively integrated with OECD, but it works independently. It is politically autonomous. Young Tae Kim from Korea is the Secretary General of International Transport Forum and headquarters is in Paris, France. UNICEF, WHO, and World Bank have released the levels and trends in child malnutrition report. SDG Target 2.2 aims to address the issues of child malnutrition. Okay, so as far as stunting, so we have, first of all, look at this. Stunting, wasting, and overweight. The data is on these three parameters. As far as stunting is concerned, 22.3% of the world's children are affected with stunting. Lower height as compared to the weight and the age of the child. Okay, so it is measured under 5 years of child. So 22.3% of children in 2022 under the age of 5 were stunted. Only about 1/3 of all countries is on track to achieve the target of stunting. Most intensive efforts are required if the world wants to achieve the global target of reducing the number of children with stunting to 89 million by 2030. And what is the number in 2022? 148 million. Okay, so there is a huge reduction which we are aiming as a world. With the current progress, the 2030 target will be missed by 39.5 million children, with more than 80% of these missed children from Africa. Wasting, it estimated 68.8% of the world's total under 5 children are suffering from wasting. That is lower weight in comparison to height. Okay. So these children are wasted. 45 million children is the absolute number. The target is 3% prevalence of overweight by 2030. यहाँ पे overweight का ही target लिखा है, so it should be here. Okay, so these 2 points have been swapped. Don't worry, I will make the correction in the final PDF which you will get. So progress towards the wasting target is not possible for nearly half of the countries. This is the forecast. Overweight is concerned, so 5.6% of the total children in the world under 5 are overweight. As far as the target forecast is concerned, so 3% prevalence for overweight by 2030 was targeted, and only one country out of the total 6 countries is on track to achieve the target of overweight. Okay, that is to reduce it by 3%. मतलब 3% prevalence of overweight. Now 2023 data for India. Okay, so from this report we have extracted the data for India. So in India, stunting reduced from 42% to 32%. Okay, India's share in the global burden has declined from 30% to 25%. Still imagine that 25% of the global burden of stunting is borne by India. Okay, so this is a very huge burden that we are shouldering on our shoulders. Okay, so as per the report, the overall prevalence of stunting in 2022 was at 31.7% in case of India, which is less than the national estimates of 35.5%. So NFHS 5 may we have predicted that 35.5% children are stunted, but as per this report, 31.7% children are stunted. So obviously the target is lower. Basically, we have performed better in the global report. The overall prevalence of wasting in 2022 is 18.7% in India, and NFHS has forecasted 19%, which is similar. India's share in the global burden is 49%. Approximately half of the wasted children in the world reside in India. The prevalence of overweight marginally increased in a decade from 2.2% to 2.8%, and India's share is at 8.8% in 2022. And this is the report, sorry, this is the picture from the report only. So here you can clearly see. So stunting percentage is 31.7%, overweight 2.8%, and wasting in 18.7% in India. And if we, then we have here the share in the global. Okay, so India's share in the 2022 global estimate is 24.6. As far as overweight is concerned, 8.8, and then we have 22% approximately in wasting share. Okay. Okay, so again, this World of Work report is not very significant as far as the NABARD phase 1 exam is concerned. Why I will tell you. The reason is that, but first of all, this report has not been asked in the NABARD examination so far, and secondly, this report is not an index which gives rankings or which gives facts. Okay, so we are going to quickly cover it. 11th edition of the World of the Work report was released. The global job gap stands at 453 million, okay, which we have seen in the previous report as well, okay, which is 11.7%. The job gap is much higher among women than men, okay. This job gap means the gap wherein the people want jobs and they are not getting jobs, okay. Low income countries face the largest job gap at 21.5% in comparison to middle and high, okay. So this is, guys, the unemployment rate world and by regions, okay. So here the world's unemployment rate, you can clearly see 5.3% is the projected world unemployment rate. The world excluding India, 5.4%, and then we have different region wise estimates. Times Higher Education Impact Ranking. It basically assesses the universities on the basis of the SDG implementation, the impact that the universities have made. So 1,500 universities approximately were assessed. Research, stewardship, outreach, teaching, 4 parameters. Western Sydney University from Australia is the first, then University of Manchester, Queen's University, and are at the second and third position. India's top ranked is Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham in Coimbatore, 52nd position. So it is working very well in the SDG implementation and the impact generated from the implementation of the SDGs. Okay. As far as the SDG 5 is concerned, so in gender equality, Manipal Academy of Higher Education is performing really well. It is at the 4th rank globally. Okay. So this is basically, guys, individual SDG wise ranking, okay, and here we have been given the overall rankings. Ministry of Education has released the NIRF. Quickly tell me, there is a state which has released its state institutional ranking framework. Which state is this? Tell me that, guys. अमन 6th तक की पीडीएफ आपके पास ऑलरेडी है. 7th 8th was weekend, 9th is today, so please wait for completion of the content. Okay, वीकेंड पे तो नहीं काम कर सकते ना हम लोग, तो आपको मिल जाएगा, आपको आज पीडीएफ मिल जाएगा, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. वेरी गुड नीलेश. केरला इज द स्टेट. नाइस. Now, as far as the NIRF's parameters are concerned, so teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practice, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity, and peer perception. These are the parameters. And do remember, guys, you must be thinking that the educational rankings are not asked in the examination, but this is NIRF, our own ranking. So any of the questions can be made out of this ranking, okay? Be it from the parameters, be it from the categories, anything can be asked. So prepare it thoroughly. As far as the categories of rankings are concerned, so look at it. We have many categories. So I know that NIRF becomes a little bit pain, okay, in the head as far as the rankings are concerned. So overall ranking is there, then university rankings, college rankings, research institutions, engineering, management, pharmacy, medical, dental, law, architecture, agriculture, innovation. So in all these particular categories, we have the institutions, colleges which are performing best. Okay. Now here you can clearly see the rankings. I have given the rank number 1 only because इससे ज़्यादा आपसे नहीं पूछा जाएगा क्योंकि ये भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. ठीक है. ओवरऑल में इट इज IIT मद्रास. ठीक है. सो इंडियाज बेस्ट कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी इज IIT मद्रास. देन यूनिवर्सिटीज में IISc बैंगलोर, देन कॉलेजेस में मिरांडा हाउस विच इज अ पार्ट ऑफ DU. रिसर्च में इट इज IISc बैंगलोर अगेन. Engineering में it is IIT Madras. Okay, we often see that majority of the new researches, new products come from the IIT Madras only. So who could be in the top position in the engineering ranking other than the IIT Madras? It is IIT Madras. Okay. Pharmacy, then we have National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research in Hyderabad. Medical, AIIMS, Delhi. Top है इंडिया का, ये तो पता ही है. डेंटल, सविता इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल एंड टेक्निकल साइंसेस. लॉ में नेशनल लॉ स्कूल ऑफ इंडिया यूनिवर्सिटी इन बैंगलोर. स्कूल भी है, यूनिवर्सिटी भी है, पता नहीं क्यों ऐसे नाम रखते हैं. आर्किटेक्चर, IIT रुड़की. एग्रीकल्चर एंड अलाइड सेक्टर्स, इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट दिल्ली. इनोवेशन, IIT कानपुर. ठीक है. देन वी हैव दिस Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, which has released the centralized public grievances redressal and monitoring system monthly report for central ministries for May 2023. Now guys, when your RBI exam was approaching, this report was important. At present, this report is not important, so I'm skipping this. Okay, I'm going to look at the other report. There is one more report, that is the grievance redressal index of 2022, which is there in this particular session. So wait for that, we are going to cover that. Okay, in monthly data से question नहीं बनेगा आपके NABARD के पेपर में, that is why I'm skipping. UN Development Program has released the Gender Social Norms Index 2023. कितनी countries थी? 191 countries. ठीक है. India has been put in the medium human development category. ठीक है. So India is at the middle position. ना ज्यादा up है ना ज्यादा low है. It is at the medium human development category. Now सबसे top पर कौन सा है? It is again one of the European countries, which is Switzerland. Switzerland has the top position in the gender development index. Okay, so we have gender development index, we have human development index, then we have different rankings on the basis of the different SDG parameters. Okay. So here India is at the 132nd position, and India's score as far as this gender development index is concerned, India is at the 5th position and the score is 0.849. Then human development index में India's score in females is 0.567, in males 0.667. Then in life expectancy at birth, we have 68.9 score for females, 65.8 scores for males, clearly signifying that women are going to have a higher life expectancy. Expected years of schooling 11.9, 11.8. Then mean years of schooling 6.3, 7.2. Then we have expected gross national income per capita 2,277 and 10,663. Remember the women, business and law ranking of the World Bank. What did it say? That the pay is not equal. At the same time, this report is highlighting not only the pay, but the number of people, number of women employed in the labor force is also not equal. It is very much less. So obviously this number is going to be less. Okay, so here we have the grievance redressal assessment index for the entire year of 2022. I hope guys you are enjoying the session. Quickly give me a thumbs up if you are enjoying the session, or if you have any suggestions, or if you did not understand anything, you can ask me here. Or if you want to just have a chit chat, you also can message me here in the chat. Okay? चलिए, so grievance redressal assessment index 2022 was released by Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievance. There has been a decline of almost 50% in the average disposal time for central ministries departments from 32 days in 2021 to 18 days in 2023. Okay, so if you are having any problem with regards to the central ministries, with regards to the departments, just write it to the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, and it is going to be resolved within 18 days. 89 central ministries and departments were assessed. Do remember this number. To compute it, the data from January to December was taken, and the database was centralized public grievances redressal and management system. Do read about this system. This system has been in the news for a long period of time. Okay, so I'm just saying, read about the system, and not only read the facts, also read about the evolution of this particular system. Why was this created? What was the need? When was it created? All such questions, all such facts should be covered by you. Okay? This is your homework for the day. Now coming to the next point, ministries and departments were grouped in 3 categories based on the number of grievances registered in 2022 in the database. First is registered grievances which are more than 10,000, then we have 2,000 to 9,000, then we have less than 9,000. Okay, so this is the number. Toppers, Department of Post, which received more than 10,000 grievances. It has resolved them very quickly in a very efficient manner. That is why it is at the top position in the group. Then UIDAI is at the second position. Group B, Department of Financial Services, which is for pension reforms, which has received the complaints between 2,000 to 9,000. Now this is the number of complaints. Okay, so it is at the first. Then Department of Legal Affairs is at the second. Group C, Department of Land Resources at first, Department of Pharmaceuticals at second. The index ranks on 4 dimensions. So first is efficiency. How efficiently have you catered to the grievance of a person? Then feedback, then domain and organizational commitment, corresponding 12 indicators. Okay, 4 parameters, 12 indicators. Do remember. Next, we have World Bank's Migration and Development Brief 38 report. Okay, so this is a very prominent report as far as the migration data is concerned. So as per this particular report, remittances flows to low and middle income countries are estimated to grow by 1.4% to $656 billion in 2023. Pay attention to this fact, guys, that for the low and middle income countries, remittances account for a major proportion. Okay, so they are equivalent to almost, for majority of the countries, they are approximately equivalent to 10 to 12 or approximately 40% of their GDP also in some cases. Okay, so remittance is a very great source of income for the low and middle income countries, although it is not the income which is included in the GDP. I hope you are clear with the basics. So this is not the GDP, this is the transfer income that is flowing from one country to this country, but still money is coming in the country. So in that sense, it is a very huge part of the income of the particular countries, low and middle income countries. Okay. This edition of the brief also increases remittances flow projections for 2022 to 8%, reaching 647 billion US dollars. Now pay attention to this fact, guys, that majority of the reports are of 2022. Okay, data is of 2022 because the latest versions of these reports have not been released. That is why these versions become the latest. Okay, so you have to remember these versions. As far as one more thing, as far as the new reports are released, for that you need to follow the Spotlight magazine. Okay, in that you will get all the latest releases. The top 5 recipient countries are India. India has the highest remittances inflow, 111 US billion dollars. Then Mexico second, China third, Philippines fourth, Pakistan fifth position. remittances flow to South. Remittances flow to South Asia grew by over 12% in 2022 to $176 billion, and clearly you can see that $111 billion belonged to India. So India is the largest receiver in the world as well as in the South Asian region. As per this report, the global average cost of sending $200 was 6.2% in 2022's fourth quarter, which is up by 6% last year. Okay, so this means that if you want to transfer money, either the charges will be the charges account for 6.2% of the transaction amount, or the entire infrastructure is costing 6.2%. Okay, infrastructure, for example, अगर आप UPI से transfer करते हो पैसा, so in the UPI also merchants, in case of merchants, because in case of retailers like you and me, the UPI is free at present, but merchants have to pay. Okay, so they have to pay a charge. Okay. Similarly, in the case of bank also, if they want to use the UPI infrastructure, a charge is going to be levied on them. Similarly, that charge, this is the charge that we are talking about. Okay, so it is the 6.2% of the sending cost. It is more than twice the SDG target of 3%. Okay, because ultimately the burden is going to be borne by the normal people. Okay, the common man. Banks are the costliest channel for sending the remittances with an average cost of 11.8%, followed by post offices, money transfer operators, and mobile. Okay. World Economic Forum has released the Global Gender Gap Report, 17th edition in 2023. Very important report, pay attention. Parameters: economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, political empowerment. 4 parameters are there: health, education, politics and economic. ठीक है, ये 4 parameters है जो कि एक इंसान की लाइफ को completely cover करते हैं. ठीक है. 146 countries are in total assessed. Iceland is at the top. Norway and Finland are second and third. India's position is 127 in this ranking out of the 146 countries. So we are just 20 points approximately down the bottom one. Okay. So Iceland is at the top. The score of Iceland is 0.912. India's score is 0.643. Do remember this thing. And we have improved on our ranking as well. Okay. Or score, maybe we have improved 0.014. Score has been added into this. Okay, so this is an improvement in the score and this is an improvement in the ranking. So do remember this thing as well for India. Bottom countries are not very important. So let's go to the most important part. So here we have the rankings of the top rankers in the parameters and India's rank in different parameters. So economy में, economic participation and opportunity में, the top performance is Liberia. India's position is 142. Score is 0.36%. So still we are lagging behind in providing economic opportunities to our women. Educational attainment में, total 25 countries are top performer and India is at the 26th position with a score of 1000. Then in health and survival, 26 countries are top performer. India's rank is 142nd. So health and survival, remember the MMR, it is 103. Okay, so as far as women's health are concerned, so MMR is also a component of that. So 103 MMR है India का. So health and survival में we are clearly not performing very well. Political empowerment, Iceland is top. India is at the 59th position. Now we have the women reservation bill also, which guarantees 33% reservation to women in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. So obviously our performance is going to improve on the political empowerment sub-index of this particular index. Clear? Now as far as South Asia is concerned, so we have different countries and rankings. So Bangladesh is performing really well as far as the global gender gap report is concerned in the South Asian region. And then we have Bhutan above us, then we have Sri Lanka above us, Nepal, Maldives, everyone is above us except for Pakistan, Iran and Afghanistan, which are very conservative nations from that perspective. So India is at the 6th position. एडमिट कार्ड गाइस आ जाएगा, इसी वीक में आ जाएगा, बिकॉज योर एग्जाम इज वेरी नियर. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. एडमिट कार्ड इज नॉट समथिंग दैट यू शुड वरी अबाउट. यू शुड वरी अबाउट द प्रिपरेशन. ऑल्दो ज़्यादा फिक्र करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, इसी वीक में आ जाएगा, ठीक है, इन द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द वीक ओनली. Moving ahead, Economic Intelligence Unit, which is a sister organization to The Economist, a very famous newspaper, also has released the Global Livability Index 2023. Okay, Vienna is at the top, Copenhagen is second, Melbourne is third, Sydney is fourth, Vancouver is fifth. Okay, so Global Livability Index. Livability is basically where you can live with efficiency. So that is something that is assessed in this Global Livability Index. Okay, so first of all, India's topmost livable cities, Delhi and Mumbai, scored 60.2. So they both are at the same position. Then we have Chennai, 144th position, Ahmedabad at 147th, Bangalore at 148th position. The average index score across the 172 cities which were assessed, eliminating Kiev from Ukraine, has now reached 76.2 out of 100, the highest score in 15 years. This means that the livability, the standards of living and the living conditions in the 172 cities have improved over the year. That is why the score is improving. Then here guys, you can read this on your own. ठीक है, ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है. Just let me clarify this discrepancy. So as per the data of CNN and Indian Express, as per CNN, health, education, stability, infrastructure and environment are the parameters. Healthcare, culture, environment, education and stability are the parameters. So stability is common, education is common, and environment is also common, healthcare is also common. So what is this Indian Express is saying? That culture is also a part of this index. Okay, so just remember that culture parameter is a disputed parameter. इतना तो आप लोग याद रख लोगे, है ना. अब एग्जाम में ऑप्शंस में if you get the parameters and if there is culture in the options, ठीक है, then in my opinion you should select the culture parameter also. For example, if there is a question which of the following is a parameter of the index, global livability index, and you have been given healthcare, education, environment in one option. You have been given healthcare, education, infrastructure, culture, and then you have been given different options. So in my opinion, then you should select option 1, because culture is here disputed. So it may happen that culture will not be a part of it. And the reason why we could not verify this from the official report is because the official report is not downloadable. It is not available as such. Okay? So that is why this discrepancy remains. So ऐसे याद कर लो, culture is the disputed one, and in case you get such options, then obviously you don't have to select culture. But in case you have been given different parameters, for example, defense हो गया, infrastructure हो गया, इस टाइप से कुछ options में है, then you can select culture. ठीक है? For example, which of the following is the parameter of the global livability index? Defense, infrastructure, urbanization, culture. So obviously you would choose culture, because out of these only culture featured in these options. Okay, I hope this discrepancy is clear. Now, in my opinion, if the total number of countries is asked from you in the examination, then this discrepancy would not be there in the option. Either you will get 172 countries or you will get 173 countries. You would not get both of the options together. Okay, so that eliminates this discrepancy. Okay, कोई सा भी number आए, you have to select. Indian Institute of Management Development released the World Competitiveness Index, which is again a very important index. I hope this discrepancy is clear, guys. Chaliye. 64 economies were assessed. Denmark is at the top. India's rank is 40th in the World Competitiveness Index. Okay, out of the 64 countries, we are 40th most competitive country in the world. Last ranking was 43rd, and we have significantly improved to 40th position. And which is the particular sector or parameter in which we have improved? It is government efficiency. Okay. India has improved in government efficiency, but fared slightly poorer than other countries in business efficiency, infrastructure, and economic performance. Okay, so these are the sectors where improvement is needed. In 1989, this index was first published by the IMD. Asia University ranking has been released by Times Higher Education. Total 13 parameters. Top 5 from India are IIC Bangalore is at the first. Then we have the JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research. So in my opinion, if you don't remember these three, then it would be fine. IIC Bangalore ko yaad kar lo, that would be sufficient. As far as the Asian universities are concerned, then Tsinghua University from China is at the first position. Next is also from China, Peking University. Okay. Then National University of Singapore is at the third position. So top 3 from this ranking of Asia. Then we have the Global Startup Ecosystem Report by Startup Genome. Top ecosystems in the world for the startups. First is Silicon Valley of the US, very obvious. Then New York City at the second position, and London also at the second position. Okay. Top ecosystems of startups in India, Bangalore obviously at the second position. Then क्योंकि इसको हम Silicon Valley of India भी बोलते हैं. Then Delhi at the 24th position. Mumbai at the 31st rank. So it is comparatively a very easy ranking for you to remember. Okay. Parameters are performance, funding, market reach, connectedness, talent and experience and knowledge. So these are the parameters on which the cities were assessed. Okay, whether the city has a pool of talented individuals or not, talented and individual workforce, experienced workforce or not. World Economic Forum Energy Transition Index 2023. 120 countries were assessed. Sweden is at the top, Denmark second, Norway third, Finland fourth, fifth is Switzerland. Top 5 away, and then we have Iceland, France, Austria, Netherlands, Estonia. All of these are the European countries. So top 10 countries are from Europe. India's rank. So India ranks at the 67th position in the Energy Transition Index. Okay, score of India is 54.3. Okay, so do remember the score is only 2 out of the 120 countries, that is India and Singapore, are advancing across the equitable, secure and sustainable dimensions for in the journey of achieving the energy transition. Okay, so we are having equitable, secure, and we are implementing the technologies for transitioning towards the more green energy which are sustainable. So technology are sustainable in India. Energy intensity, CO2 intensity per capita, share of electricity, renewable capacity. Okay, so next is Institute for Economic and Peace based in Sydney, Australia, has released the Global Peace Index 2023, 17th edition. 163 countries. One more thing, guys, pay attention to the editions of particular reports and rankings. Sometimes editions are asked, sometimes the organizations releasing the indices are asked. 23 indicators across 3 domains: the level of societal safety and security, the extent of ongoing domestic and international conflict, and the degree of militarization. These are the 3 parameters on which the Global Peace Index is prepared. Iceland is at the top. You would see that majority of the indices are topped by the Scandinavian countries only. Okay. Iceland is top, Denmark second, then third is Ireland, fourth is New Zealand, and fifth is Austria. Top 5 is important. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं पूछते. Then India is at the 126th position and the score is 2.314. Then here we have the bottom rankers in the South Asia. Let's see. Bhutan is the most peaceful country in the entire South Asia. Then we have Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. These are the top four countries which are above India as far as the peace is concerned. Then at the fifth position, India is placed, and then Pakistan and Afghanistan. Okay, so we are in the South Asian region, we are ahead only of Pakistan and Afghanistan. And we can clearly see what opponents we have defeated to come at this position. In total, peacefulness improved in 84 countries and deteriorated in 79 countries. The average level of global peacefulness deteriorated by 0.42% in the 2023 index. That means that average level of peacefulness has deteriorated, has reduced by 0.42%. That means the people are not feeling peaceful as much as they were feeling peaceful in the previous edition. Okay, so there is a slight decline in their peacefulness. Total military spending increased by 17%. Obviously, militarization was a parameter there since 2008, with largest increases coming from China, US and India. India में भी बड़ा है military expenditure up to $40 billion. The global progress, as you can see. So here we have overall global score, the average. Then we have ongoing conflict score 0.028, safety and security score 0.014, and militarization score, which is the only score in negative, 0.029 score, and it is very good that it is in the negative. Ministry of Education has released the Performance Grading Index 2021 to 2022, and it is the second edition. Remember, second edition. Now there are two parameters. One is outcome, then other one is governance management. Okay? In the outcome parameter, we have domains. Different domains are there. Then we have different indicators also in the domains. So domains is learning outcome and quality, access, infrastructure and facility, and equity. So these are the outcome categories, domains. Then we have governance processes and teaching and teacher education and training in the governance management category. And these are the respective number of indicators within each domain. And in my opinion, you should remember the domain wise indicators and the total number of indicators and their weightage, because question यहाँ से भी आ सकता है, and the devil is in the details, guys. Okay, so don't miss out on the details which can be asked in the exam. Here we have the score ranges. ठीक है, दक्ष, उत्कर्ष, अति उत्तम, उत्तम, प्रचेष्टा 1 2 3, आकांक्षी 1 2 3. ठीक है, these are the categories. Now here we have the number of states in these particular categories. So in Pracheshta 2 we have 2 states, and no state is performing in the top categories. Daksh, Utkarsh, Ati Uttam, Uttam, Pracheshta 1 2 में तो कोई भी नहीं है state. ठीक है. Then we have in Pracheshta 3rd 6 states and UTs, including Akanshi 1 में we have 13 states and UTs, 12 in Akanshi 2 and 3 in Akanshi 3. This data is also important. Again, details important होती हैं, पूछी जा सकती हैं. ठीक है. Now Pracheshta 2 में the 2 states, one is Punjab state, Chandigarh Union Territory. ठीक है. Then Pracheshta 3 में we have Gujarat, Kerala, Maharashtra, Delhi, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu. Then Akanshi में we have these many 13 states UTs. Then we have 12 here and 3 here. Now, do you need to remember all the states here? No. Pracheshta 2, Pracheshta 3 and Akanshi 3. In case states के नाम याद करो. Apart from this, when you have 13 or 12 states in these two categories, so just remember if your state is there in these categories. So remember your state is in which category. Apart from that, don't remember such heavy data, because then you will get confused and it is not asked in the exam. Now here the domain wise rankings have been given. For example, in the domain 1, learning outcome and quality, we have 3 states performing in the Pracheshta 2. If we only consider the learning outcomes and quality, then we have 3 states performing well in the Pracheshta 2, 4 states performing well in the Pracheshta 3, and then we have Akanshi 1 में 19 states and Akanshi 2 में 10 states and union territories. Okay, Similarly, as far as domain 2, that is excess, is concerned, okay, so as far as excess is concerned, we do have one state in Daksh category. In Utkarsh, we have 8. In Atyuttam, we have 10. In Uttam, we have 12. In Prachishta 1, we have 4. In Prachishta 2, we have 1 state. Okay, so this shows that the access to education is widely available and we are working on that. Okay, so we are not in the bottom list of then infrastructure and facility. So here again, not in the top 3, there is no state. Then we have in the Uttam category 1 state. In the Prachishta 1, 5 states. Prachishta 2 may we have 10. Prachishta 3 may we have 14. Akansha 1 may we have 6. Okay. The reason that why I have not given you the names of these particular states is simple. You will get confused and it will not be asked in the examination. इतनी ज़्यादा डिटेल में भी नहीं जाएगा examiner, because for that the examiner will have to open up the official report and create the question. And I don't think that the examiner does that for every kind of report that is released. Okay, if it is a NABARD report, if it is the handloom survey, if it is the microfinances survey, then I would have told you to remember each and every data which is important, which appears relevant. But this is the performance grading index which is related to education sector, which is not a direct domain of NABARD. So definitely, in my opinion, they would not ask you the particular state, okay, in this particular domain wise ranking. Okay. Daksh mein we have 1 state, then we have 31 states in the Utkarsh. Domain 4 mein we are talking about, and then we have in Ati Uttam 4 states. Governance processes mein you can clearly see 1 state in Ati Uttam, 1 in Uttam, no state in Daksh and Utkarsh. Teachers, education and training. We do not have anyone in the Daksh category. Utkarsh mein we have 5, Ati Uttam mein we have 10. So clearly you can see that in the access domain only we have the top performers in the Daksh, Utkarsh and Ati Uttam categories, which are the top 3 categories. Apart from the access domain, in the overall ranking, we do not have anyone in these 3 particular categories. In the other domain rankings also, we do not have any other state performing in the other categories except for the access in all these 3 categories. The facts related to it, first is that in 2017 the performance grading index was released for the first time to help states and UTs to identify the changes they need to make in their education system, school education. PGI 2.0 is constructed on 73 indicators, 2 categories containing 6 domains. So what we are seeing right now, what we have just read now is written here. The PGI 2.0 is completely aligned with Unified District Information System for Education Plus, which is a portal where the states have to provide the information related to the school education. Okay? National Achievement Survey, PM Poshan portal, Prabandh portal with Vidyanjali portal data, which now enables automatically to fill values of 69 indicators directly from the UDISC Plus and National Achievement Survey. One more thing that related to the National Achievement Survey, that in 2024, Parak is going to conduct the National Achievement Survey. There is a state which has, in which Parak has conducted the State Achievement Survey as a precursor to the National Survey. Quickly tell me the name of the state. Okay, so quickly tell me the name of the state wherein Parak has recently conducted the State Achievement Survey as a precursor to the National Achievement Survey. Okay. So guys, in the meanwhile you give me the answer, I'll just come in 2 minutes. Okay. So do type your So I'm back. Let's see how many of you have given the answers. Nobody. Why is it so, guys? Don't you know the answer? The answer is Kerala. Recently, the State Achievement Survey was organized in Kerala, which is a precursor to the National Achievement Survey. Now, moving ahead. Again, a very important index. The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index was released by Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative and UN Development Program. So, what are the findings? First is prevalence of poverty. So, across the 110 countries, 1.1 billion out of the 6.1 billion people are poor. Okay. So, देखो, out of the 6.1 billion people, 1.1 billion people are poor in 110 countries. Okay. That is just over 18% are estimated to live in acute multidimensional poverty. ठीक है, पुअर होना अलग चीज है एंड मल्टी डायमेंशनल एक्यूट मल्टी डायमेंशनल पोवर्टी होना इज डिफरेंट. Distribution across the regions. So here you can clearly see that in the African region you have 534 million people out of the 1.1 billion poor people. Half of all the poor people they live in the sub-Saharan Africa, which you can clearly see from the map itself. Sub-Saharan Africa में nearly half of the overall poor people live. ठीक है. Then we have over a third of all poor people live in South Asia. That is 389 million people. So this includes our India also, and clearly the shape is denoting India only. Okay, highlighting India. 730 million people, nearly 2/3 of all the poor people live in the middle income countries. Okay, and then 387 million people live in the low income countries. Okay, which is the host for over 1/3 of all the poor people. Now, what does this report say about the reduction in poverty? Okay, so 25 countries, including India, have halved their global MPI values within 15 years. So, 25 countries include Cambodia, China, Congo, Honduras, India, Indonesia, Morocco, Serbia, and Vietnam. Okay, so out of these, China and India are of utmost importance. So, we have reduced our global MPI by 50%. India specific data is that in 2005 to 2006, 645 million people were living in the multidimensional poverty in India. Now this number has reduced to 370 million people in 2015 to 16 and now to 230 million in 2019 to 2021. So clearly you can see that approximately 400 million people have been pushed out of, or pulled out of, sorry, not pushed, pulled out of the multidimensional poverty in India, which is a great achievement. Okay, 415 million people is the exact number between 2005-06 to 1921. Incidence of poverty has also fallen from 55.1% to 16.4%. Again, a very good achievement for India. Deprivation in all indicators declined. The above findings are significant as India surpassed China in April 2023 as the world's most populous country. So that is why it is very important how many poor people do we have, how many multidimensional poor people we have, and how much progress have we made in uplifting them. As far as the global multidimensional poverty index is concerned, so let's have a look at the basics of the index. First is that it measures more than 100 developing countries. It was launched in 2010. It is released by UNDP, Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. There are 3 dimensions, 10 indicators. Health, education, living standards. In the health, nutrition, child mortality are 2 indicators. In education, years of schooling and school attendance are 2 indicators. In living standards, we have cooking fuel, we have sanitation, we have drinking water, we have electricity, we have housing, we have assets. These are the indicators. Okay, बैंक अकाउंट्स, and there is one more indicator which was there in the national multidimensional poverty index. Quickly tell me what was the other parameter. Bank accounts was one parameter which was a part of the living standards. Now I ask you one more parameter which was there in the national multidimensional poverty index, which is prepared by the NITI Aayog. PDF will be on the Telegram channel after the session is over, or you can say by today evening you will get the PDF. Okay, so don't worry about it. Dream life, you don't have to worry about the exams postponing. ठीक है, मणिपुर में वैसे भी काफी राइट्स हो रहे हैं, दैट्स व्हाई दे हैव रिलीज दिस नोटिफिकेशन, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट. दिल्ली में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है तो एग्जाम पोस्टपोन नहीं होगा. No, it was not financial inclusion. Bank accounts is one. Another one was, which was the another one? And this is your question. You are going to tell me. Guys, exam में सिर्फ एक हफ्ता बचा है, and I expect you to know the answer. The question is that in the National Multidimensional Poverty Index, we have copied this entire structure. We have the three domains, we have the indicators, but we have added two indicators, okay, on our own. These are our own indicators. One is the bank account in the standards of living, and one more indicator was included. Let me tell you that it was in the dimension of health. It is the maternal mortality. Okay, maternal health, not mortality, maternal health, which was added into this. Now, in India's multidimensional poverty index, we have 12 indicators, whereas in the global, we have 10 indicators. Okay. Please, guys, don't do this. Prepare थोड़ा ढंग से फॉर योर एग्जाम. एक ही हफ्ता बचा है एग्जाम के लिए, ठीक है, थोड़ा अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कर लो. नाउ, Global Survey on Digital and Sustainable Trade Facilitation. It was the 5th edition. It has been released by the UN Economic and Social Commission for the Asia Pacific. Okay? Now, as per this particular report, India has emerged as the best performing country among all the countries of the South Asian region. Okay? India has achieved a perfect score of 100% in transparency, formalities, institutional arrangement and cooperation, paperless trade. So these were the 4 parameters on which this particular survey was assessing the different countries. And in all these 4 parameters, India has scored 100%. India has witnessed an improvement in the score for women in trade facilitation component from 66.7% to 77.8% in 2023. So what you have to remember? You have to remember this data. Okay. Now, as far as the survey is concerned, so let's have a little bit about the survey itself. So this survey covers the WTO trade facilitation agreement along with the set of nearly 60 trade facilitation measures categorized into 11 subgroups. So these are the subgroups. The survey is a fact-based rather than perception-based survey. It follows a 3-step approach to collect data and validation implemented over 6 months period every 2 years. Okay. So this is important that every 2 years this data is released. Times Higher Education Young University Rankings list for 2023 has been released. 605 universities were assessed, 13 indicators. Okay, and these indicators have been taken from the World University Ranking. Okay, so same indicators are there. So these are the indicators, and since they are 13 in number, I would recommend don't remember all these indicators, because first of all, again Times Higher Education की rankings exam में अभी तक नहीं पूछी गई है पिछले 4-5 सालों से. तो इतना सारा डेटा याद करना इज यूजलेस फॉर यू, ठीक है, तो मत करो. The rankings list the world's best universities that are 50 years old or younger. Remember, young universities ranking. So the universities who are only 50 years or younger. The universities of the world are just across all their core missions: teaching, research, knowledge transfer, and international. Nanyang Technology University in Singapore has topped the list. Now let's see how has our India performed on the ranking. So 3 universities have made it to the top. ठीक है, top 100 rankings. Mahatma Gandhi University in Kerala at the 77th position. JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research at 79th position. Shalini University of Biotechnology and Management Studies at 91st position. Lovely Professional University is ranked at 251 to 300 range. Okay, so these are the top 3 that you need to remember. Apart from this, this is not important. Lovely Professional University. Next is World Investment Report. Again, an important report by UNCTAD. Overall, global FDI has declined by 12% to $1.3 trillion in 2022. The overall FDI status in different regions is this. So in the developed countries, we see minus 37%, you can say decline. There is a decline of 37% in the developed countries. And this decline is with respect to the FDI flows. During 2022, FDI inflows, pay attention here, FDI inflows are being talked about. FDI flows include both outflows and your inflows. Okay? Whereas here we are talking about the FDI inflows. So FDI inflows to India increased by 10% on an annual basis to $49 billion. And do remember, here we are talking about the FDI flows. We are not talking about remittances. Okay, so don't get confused in both of these data. Then the developing countries need renewable energy investment of about $1.7 trillion each year, but attracted only $544 billion in clean energy FDI in 2022. This means that the world needed 1.7 trillion to invest in the clean energy in the countries, but the money that they get from the other countries as FDI was only half of it, $544 billion. Okay? Top 10 developing countries by international investment in renewable energy. Let's see, where does India stand? So India stands at the 4th position. Okay, let me see. Yes, India's position is 4th, and here we have the share of renewable energy in total project value. Okay, so Brazil is at the 1st position, and then we have Vietnam, Chile, and India at the 4th position. As far as the international investment in renewable energy is concerned, the FDI in renewable energy is concerned in India. Okay. Sustainable development gap. So this is one identified area. So this gap has widened from 2.5 trillion to 4 trillion. That means SDG की implementation के लिए the developed world is not giving funding or not giving the money to the developing nation. Although the fact that I have used as far as the funding is concerned, the developed and developing is a requirement of the Paris Agreement. Okay, it has nothing to do with the investment here that is being talked about. Okay, but still the SDG investment is not coming in the countries which need it. Okay, that is why the investment gap is widening. Developing countries' energy investment needs are estimated at 2.2 US dollar per year. So here the denomination is missing. Okay, this refers to the investment in energy generation, energy efficiency, and low carbon transition technologies. This is not very important. The fact is this, that SDG investment gap is widening. fossil fuel subsidies around the world has amounted to $1 trillion in 2022. Renewable energy investments, the need is about 1.7 trillion, but what we are getting 544 billion. Sustainable market finance, the value of the sustainable finance market, which includes bonds, funds, voluntary carbon markets, have grown by more than 10% to $5.8 trillion in 2022. The sustainable bond issuance has grown fivefold over the past 5 years. The sustainable bond market was worth $3.3 trillion in 2022. Okay. The report has proposed a global action compact for the investment in sustainable energy for all, and it contains a set of guiding principles covering the 3 objectives of the energy transitions. And what are these 3 objectives? First is meeting climate goals. Second is providing affordable energy for all and ensuring energy security. Next is Export Preparedness Index 2022, which has been prepared by Niti Aayog. So this is the 3rd edition of the report. Okay. 4 pillars were there: policy, business ecosystem, export performance, and these are the sub pillars which are important for you to remember. Okay. Total 56 indicators were there. What are the findings? Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka are the top performing states. In Himalayan states, Uttarakhand topped. Landlocked states, Haryana topped. UT and small states mein Goa has topped. Among the export districts, Jamnagar in Gujarat, Surat in Gujarat, Mumbai in Maharashtra, Mumbai urban are the top performing exports districts. Gujarat has 8 districts, the highest number of districts in the top 25 export districts in the country. So this is an important fact. Okay, so now we have the National Multidimensional Poverty Index as well. 2nd edition again. We have health, education, standard of living. We have discussed it. Let's discuss the finding. Reduction in multidimensional poverty. So between 15 to 16 and 19 to 21, we have around 13.5 crore people moving out of the multidimensional poverty. Decline in poverty percentage. So it has declined from 24.85% to 14.96% in 2019 to 2021. Rural-urban divide. The rural India has experienced fastest decline in poverty, with the poverty rate dropping from 32.59 to 19%, 19.28%. In urban areas, the poverty rate reduced from 8 to 5% approximately. Okay. So rural areas may the progress is really appreciable. In terms of the number of the multidimensionally poor people, Uttar Pradesh saw the largest decline in the number of poor individuals, with 3.43 crore people escaping the multidimensional poverty. ठीक है, so Uttar Pradesh has the largest decline. सबसे ज्यादा population भी उत्तर प्रदेश की है, सबसे ज्यादा decline भी उत्तर प्रदेश ने ही face किया है. Then the states of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Rajasthan witnessed significant progress in reducing the multidimensional poverty. Okay. Then Bihar saw the fastest reduction in the MPI value in absolute terms, with the proportion of multidimensional poor reducing from 51% to 33% in 2019 to 2021, followed by Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so Bihar witnessed the highest MPI value reduction. Okay, so that is also a fact that you should be aware of. Now, SDG targets. The MPI value for India has nearly halved from 0.117 to 0.066 between the tenure. The intensity of poverty has also reduced from 47% to 44%, indicating that India is on the track to achieve the SDG target of 1.2, reducing the multidimensional poverty by at least half ahead of the stipulated timeline of 2030. This target, guys, is very, very important. Do remember these particular targets which come in the news. Improvement in indicators. All 12 indicators used to measure multidimensional poverty showed marked improvements. Okay, so that was the multidimensional poverty index of India. Next is your state of elementary education in rural India report. Okay, so the report is based on a survey conducted by the Development Intelligence Unit in collaboration with an NGO Transform Rural India and Sambodhi Research and Communications. The survey gathered responses from 6,000 parents of the school children 6 to 16 years in 21 states. Okay, so key findings of the survey are, first is smartphone usage and entertainment. You can clearly see access to smartphone is available to 49.3% of children. Playing video games is done by 76.7% of the children. Then these are the different parameters, not very important because nobody is going to ask you the questions, how many children were able to download and watch movies, right? So okay, so what this particular report, State of Elementary Education in Rural India, found. So it found that students in the higher classes, classes 8th and above, have greater access to smartphone. Younger students, class 1st to 7th, 1st to 3rd, show considerable access. Okay. Then school dropout ke reasons. This data is for girls, this data is for boys. Contribute to family earnings, okay, 36.8%. For boys, 48.7%. Lack of interest in studies, 31.6%, 71.8% for boys. Parents' participation, only 40% of parents have conversation with their children about around learning in school every day. 84% of parents regularly attend parent-teacher meetings. Again, not a very significant data to be asked. Okay, so that is all about this report. Let's move to the next report. World Trade Statistical Review of the World Trade Organization. What does this report say? China, US, Germany are the top 3 exporters of the merchandise. Do remember, we are talking about the merchandise only. We are not including these services. So this is not the overall trade. This is only the merchandise trade. US, China, Germany, top 3 importers of the world merchandise in 2022. Export भी कर रहे हैं और import भी कर रहे हैं at the same time. ठीक है? So they are the top 3. India specific data is India is the 18th leading exporter of the merchandise and 9th importer of the merchandise goods. India is ranked globally 7th among the exporters and 9th among the importers in commercial services in 2022. Okay, commercial services exports of India registered a very strong 206% increase. So this is a really high increase that India's commercial services have witnessed. Trade in goods and services amounted 31 trillion US dollar in 2022. So this was the value of the trade in goods and services in 2022, which is showing a 13% increase than the previous year. Okay. So here you can clearly see the trade of goods and the trade of services in US trillions. Okay. Leading merchandise trader. So here the graph for China, the graph for US and the graph for Germany has been given. Obviously, you can skip this fact, this particular graph, because that is not of any use for you. Okay. Manufactured goods. The share of manufactured goods in the world merchandise export fell to 63% in 2022, mainly due to high energy prices limiting the demand. Transport services. Trade in transport services continued to grow in 2022 at a slower pace, although in comparison to 2021. Intra-regional merchandise trade, so it represented 65% of Europe's world trade in 2022. So that is the highest among the world regions. The lowest was for Africa. Okay. Next is Swachh Vayu Sarvekshan, the clean air survey conducted by the Union Environment, Forest and Climate Change Ministry. So about the survey, it is a new initiative by the Ministry of Environment to rank cities on the basis of the quality of air, that is Swachh Vayu. Okay? And the implementation of the activities approved under the National City Action Plan in 131 non-attainment cities. Now do prepare the National Clean Air Program. Okay, the National Clean Air Program was launched in 2019 and it aims to improve the quality of air. Cities are declared Non-attainment if over a 5-year period they consistently do not meet the criteria for PM10 and nitrogen oxide. ठीक है? The categorization of cities has been based on the 2011 population census. Now here we have the 8 parameters on which the Swachh Vayu Sarvekshan survey will be prepared. First is control of biomass, municipal solid waste burning, road dust, dust from construction, vehicular emissions, industrial emission, public awareness, and improvement in PM10 concentration. Methodology of the surveys: 131 cities were categorized into 3 groups. First group is 47 cities having more than 10 lakh population, then 3 to 10 lakh population having 44 cities, less than 3 lakh population consisting 40 cities. Yeah. The cities are required to do the self-assessment, provide the data on themselves on the PRAN portal. PRAN is the acronym for the Portal for Regulation of Air Pollution in Non-Attainment Cities. PRAN portal is important. Do read about it. When was it launched? What are the specific modules on the portal, and whatever the nitty-gritties are with respect to this portal, please read about it because it is in the news. And all these indices were released from January to September only. Okay, so there are high chances that a question on PRAN portal will be asked in the exam. Now, what are the findings? The result time. So, under the first category, Indore is at the first position, followed by Agra and Thane. Indore has 187 score out of 200. Amravati is at the in the second category. Amravati has secured the first rank, followed by Moradabad and Gantur. In the third category, Parvanu in Himachal Pradesh has secured the first rank. Then we have Kalam and Angul at the second and third positions. Next index is 2023 Digital Quality of Life Index, the fifth edition of this index, released by the Surfshark Limited. Okay, this is a private organization which has released this index, but still this index is important. India stands at 52nd position in this index, and we have a score of 0.515. Okay? Last time India's rank was 59th. So clearly there is an improvement of 7 positions in our ranking, which is a very good thing. Then the index features 121 countries and is topped by France with a ranking score of 0.7902. Okay, इसका score याद नहीं भी रखोगे, 0.79 याद रखोगे तब भी चल जाएगा. But for India, you have to remember the exact score. So France is followed by Finland, Denmark, Germany, Luxembourg. In Asia, India is ranked at the 13th position with Singapore at the top, and Singapore's global rank is 10th in digital quality of life. Now the index is prepared on 5 pillars. What does this index actually measure? So it measures internet affordability, internet की quality, internet infrastructure, electronic infrastructure, electronic security, electronic government. ठीक है? And all of these parameters have an equal weightage of 20%. ठीक है? These pillars have 14 indicators to help measure the overall digital quality of life. Okay, so 5 pillars, 14 indicators. Next is that this Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. Do you see that this department has come into the news or in this particular document only 4 times? Okay, so clearly you can see the importance of the indices released by this particular department. Okay, and also the portals which have been launched by this department. Do have a look at those portals and the portals of the Ministry of Personnel. 6th edition of the National E-Governance Service Delivery Assessment Survey was released. Okay. Now the best practices that this particular report has highlighted. First of all, I forgot to mention you the fact that this particular service delivery survey is for the month of August and your exam is on October 16. ठीक है, तो data important है, monthly data is also important, right? Now, what you have to remember from this data? Only the facts that I have mentioned here. Apart from this, don't go into the depths because that is not required. So Bihar government has been appraised for its child labor tracking system. Government has been appraised for Anubandham. What is Anubandham? Anubandham is the platform that allows the job seekers and job providers to connect with each other. Okay, like Tinder, which connects the girl and the boy. So they connect the employee and the employer. So in this manner, Rajasthan provides a single view of offering, okay, of Rajasthan single sign-on factories and boiler inspection department, okay, on a unified platform. So basically, it has done for the labor force. Uttarakhand provides employment opportunity to the unemployment youth through Rozgar Prayag portal. Okay, so for these portals particularly, these states have been given ranking. Okay, now let's read about the National E-Governance Service Delivery Assessment. So this is, guys, a survey by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. It was first launched in August 2018. Okay. So far, at the national level, we have two editions of it. One was released in 2019. One was of 2019, but was released in February 20, and another one is of 2021, but was released in June 2022. I hope you are understanding the meaning of it. That means 2019 was the assessment period. Release was done in 2020. Same 21 was the assessment period. 2022 में release किया था data. Then this particular 2023 index is going to evaluate the e-government maturity at the city level. Okay. So the highlight of this 2023 report, which will be prepared, is the cities portals that provide information and services to the urban citizens. It will cover 7 sectors: finance, labor, employment, education, local governance, utility services, social welfare, environment, tourism, and also transport and public grievance sectors. A total of 59 mandatory services are proposed to be assessed for each and every state and UT, and 37 services for the central ministries. Okay, so do remember, the 2023 data has not been released so far. It is going to be prepared, and here you can clearly see these are the focus sectors, the 7 sectors. These are the services in those particular sectors, and these are the central ministries which will be assessed for their respective number of services in this particular 2023 index. Then the assessment parameters will be accessibility, content availability, ease of use, information security and privacy, and service delivery, integrated service delivery, status and request tracking, open government data, e-participation, leveraging technologies, emerging technologies. So that will be the next is Fraser Institute has released the Economic Freedom of the World 2023 report. It measures the economic freedom. From the name itself, it is clear. Size of the government, legal system and property rights, sound money, freedom to trade internationally, regulation. These are the different parameters assessed. 165 countries were assessed. Singapore top, 87th is India's rank. The last index of this session is 2023 Global Crypto Adoption Index, which is by chain analysis. Okay. Although I understand that this organization is not of very much importance, but still this index is important. Okay, it has 5 sub-indices also. The score range is 0 to 1. A total of 154 countries were assessed, and here we have the overall index ranking. Then we have the centralized service value received ranking, retail centralized service value received ranking, P2P exchange trade volume ranking, DEFI volume value received ranking, retail DEFI, DEFI is decentralized financial infrastructure, DEFI value received ranking. So here India has performed at the first position in almost all of the rankings except for the P2P exchange trade volume ranking. And here we are talking about the crypto exchange. Okay, crypto adoption की बात चल रही है. ठीक है. Apart from this, So in the Central and South Asia and Oceania region, India has performed really well and it is at the first position. Now do pay attention to this thing, that this particular report has taken over the income classification criteria given by the World Bank. Okay, higher income, upper income, lower middle income and low income, and India falls in the middle income country, lower middle income country criteria, which has gross national income per capita range of 1086 to 4255 US dollars. Okay. One more thing, India has been ranked first in the grassroots crypto adoption. Last year, India was standing at the 4th position. Now is at the 1st position. India has ranked first in 4 parameters. We have seen here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 5 parameters. Overall ranking also is first. So as far as parameters are concerned, India has ranked first in the 4 parameters. Okay, so here we have a surprise, that is the Global Innovation Index. Let's see, this should be the last index. Yes, this is the last index. So just थोड़ी सी हिम्मत बांध के रखो, बस फिर खत्म है, ठीक है. World Intellectual Property Organization has released the 16th edition of the Global Innovation Index and it was released in September. So very, very important. 132 countries are there which have been assessed. Switzerland is the most innovative country in 2023 for the 13th year in a row. So Switzerland first, Sweden second, US third, UK fourth, Singapore fifth. India is at the 40th position, score is 38.1. Okay, here you can clearly see that this report, WIPO's Global Innovation Report, has provided the fact that India's purchasing power parity per in US dollars is 11,665 billion. Okay? So this is in billion. GDP in purchasing power parity terms. Now here you can clearly see India's score and India's rank in different parameters of this Global Innovation Index. For example, in institutions, India ranks at 56th position. In human capital and research, 48th position. Business sophistication, 57th position. Infrastructure, 84th position. Market sophistication, 20th position. Knowledge and technology output, 22nd position. Creativity output, 49th. Okay. So these are the input based parameters and these are the output based parameters. Okay. So the category of parameters are 2 in this index: output based, input based. Inputs mein these are the pillars, output mein knowledge and creativity outputs, these are the pillars. Okay. Bottom pe we have Angola. Now this Global Innovation Index provides different rankings on the basis of income and region as well. So as far as income based rankings are concerned, so in the lower middle income category group, India stands at the 1st position. ठीक है. और बाकी कंट्रीज से हमें कुछ लेना देना नहीं है because they are not going to be asked. As far as the region is concerned, so in the regional ranking, Central and South Asia, India is again at the 1st position. Now one more thing, that is Global Top 100 S&T Cluster Ranking. This is a separate ranking within the Global Innovation Ranking. Okay? So it is a sub-index in the GI and it basically ranks the regions on the basis of the innovations in science and technology that they do, the science and technology clusters that they foster. Okay? So world 5 biggest science and technology clusters are located in East Asia. Okay, so you can clearly see the ranking of top 4. ठीक है, हालांकि वो कह रहा है top 5 है, but doesn't matter, top 4 का भी चल जाएगा. So Tokyo, Yokohama is the world's top science and tech cluster. That means it fosters the science and technology really well. Then we have Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Guangzhou, and then we have Seoul, then we have Beijing. These are the top 4. As far as the science and tech intensity is concerned, so this you can consider in quantity, the number of science and tech clusters, and this is the quality, the intensity of science and technology. And as far as the intensity of the research is concerned, Cambridge is at the 1st, then St. George, San Francisco is at the 2nd, Oxford is 3rd, then we have 4th and 5th rankers also. ठीक है, इतना ज़्यादा याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, they will not be asking you these facts. Top 3 are sufficient and here top 4 are sufficient. So here guys, questions आपके लिए हैं and these questions are your I would say homework कह लीजिए या कुछ भी कह लीजिए. I have taught you the indices. Now you have to do the questions on your own. ठीक है? I hope you all have enjoyed the session of today. And if there is anything you want to ask me, you can ask. Yes, Nafis. बहुत ही अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा है आपने. If you want to read from September onwards, then you have to go from bottom to top. Okay, because the very first number index is of January. Then in this manner, the sequence is moving. Is there anything that you guys want to share? You guys want to discuss? एंजाइटी तो काफी ज्यादा हो रही होगी आप लोगों को, एग्जाम जस्ट नियर द कॉर्नर है. देखो नफीस, अब इसमें दो बातें हैं. पहली चीज, इफ यू हैवंट प्रिपेयर्ड द गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स डॉक्यूमेंट दैट वी हैव प्रोवाइडेड यू, देन माय आंसर इज यस. क्योंकि अभी आप जितना है उतना कर लो, जनवरी से सितंबर तक की पीआईबी से आप कवर कर लो स्कीम्स. Although whenever you ask about the government schemes, we always say that it is not sufficient to only pick up all the schemes which are in the news. Sometimes the schemes which are not in the news, they are also asked in the exam. Okay, because 40 questions हैं, उनके पास काफी स्पेस है आपसे पूछने के लिए, तो क्या ही करेंगे, स्कीम से ही क्वेश्चन बनाएंगे ना. तो वो चीज. Now since you haven't read the government schemes document, then please stick to the PIB documents फ्रॉम जनवरी टू अक्टूबर. उतना कर लोगे तो भी काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस आपके क्लियर हो जाएंगे, प्लस करंट अफेयर्स भी प्रिपेयर हो जाएगा. यश, सितंबर जीए सेशन अब आपका महामैराथन के सेशन में होगा. सो विच इज ऑन 13th of October. So on that date we will be covering your major important months. ठीक है, एंड बैकवर्ड चलेंगे, अक्टूबर, सितंबर, अगस्त. इन दिस मैनर वी विल cover your questions of September in Mahamarathon session. Okay. So I hope guys you liked the session. Thank you so much for being so wonderful, and don't take stress. Stress लेने से तो वैसे भी एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं होगा, पढ़ने से होगा. पढ़ लो अच्छे से, स्ट्रेस मत लो, हो जाएगा एग्जाम क्लियर. All the best for your exam, and now we will meet in the Mahamarathon session. Have a good day guys. Bye bye.